Hi, welcome. It's Jackie from Cambridge Safety. Welcome to one of our latest Take 5 videos. Take just 5 minutes for one aspect of health and safety. So in this short video, we're just going to talk about the workplace inspection. So workplace inspection, it's a way of monitoring health and safety, and there's some fundamentals. Equally, sometimes people do confuse it with health and safety audits and tours and sampling and these types of things. So we're just going to have a clarify what is a workplace inspection. So it's a health and safety monitoring technique. It can help us see, are we improving, are standards good or bad? And it's about spotting hazards, those things out there in the workplace that have the potential to cause harm. So it's proactive rather than waiting for the accident to happen and then dealing with it. Let's look at the hazard now and see what we can do to stop it being an accident. So when we're spotting hazards, anything with the potential to cause harm, it could be unsafe conditions, trailing cables, damage to the floor, damaged electrics. Unsafe actions, though, it could be about how people are working, maybe poor manual handling technique, people taking a shortcut across the traffic route, etc. So it's based on what you can see. So it's very much not deep and meaningful. It's right, I'm looking around, what can I actually see? What are the hazards? And it's very much a bit like your car MOT. As at this moment in time. Tomorrow it could be completely different. Yesterday it might have been completely different, but based on that, today, what are the hazards? So the starting point of a workplace inspection is exactly the same as a general risk assessment, because when we do a general risk assessment, we look for the hazards. It's what happens next is different in a workplace inspection to a risk assessment. In a workplace inspection, we're just really interested in what's the hazard, what can we do about it to either eliminate the hazard or reduce it, the risk of it causing an accident. Whereas in a risk assessment, we start looking at who's at risk, existing controls and evaluation, etc. So the workplace inspection is a far more narrow, targeted, focused approach. So it's proactive. We're getting out there looking for hazards now before the accident has occurred. So usually workplace inspections are completed internally. You might have an external inspector or someone from another site who comes, but there's something usually we do for ourselves within a company. Obviously, though, it's worth remembering that our health and safety executive and environmental health officer, they come and do inspections, but their purpose is to identify whether there's any breaches of law. So in terms of internally, it could be an employee, safety representatives from a trade union, could be our representative of employee safety if we don't have a union. It could be managers, health and safety advisors. So it's someone there in the organisation getting out there, having a look and spotting some hazards. So the frequency, it could be every day, it could be every week, month, every 3 months. So the higher the risk, the more things change, potentially the more often, but some places might do it every day. You might do an inspection every day to check your fire exits are clear, to check the routes are clear, etc. So the focus of an inspection is work and the work activity. It's not on paperwork and procedures, it's on what you can see, the workplace and work activity. So they're relatively quick and easy to do. It doesn't involve getting out lots of paperwork. It's right, I've got a few minutes, let's go and do a walk round a set route and see what I can spot. So very limited planning. Obviously, you might need some personal protective equipment, you might need a bit of paper and a notepad, or you might want to make notes on your laptop or palm top, etc. But you're not doing lots and lots of planning to do an inspection. And ideally, inspections should be regular checks done every so often, just so we can see, are we getting better? Are we improving? Or is actually, are things deteriorating? So the audit is the deeper, meaningful looking at our health and safety management system. Workplace inspection is very much out there in the workplace. How's it looking there? You might use a checklist to assist, and there may be some positives with the checklist. Everyone follows the same checklist. It's easy to compare. You maybe can spot trends and things like that. But can you think of any downsides of a checklist? You might have a checklist at work. It might be after a while, people don't go and have a look. They just fill out the checklist, it's ticking boxes. So you might want to use a checklist, but they're not the be all and end all, particularly if they're not well drafted. Workplace inspections, we can all spot a hazard, anything with the potential to cause harm. But with an inspection, it's then, okay, then we've got this hazard. What do we need to do? What needs to be done to reduce the risk of that hazard causing harm or injury. And that's the most important bit. It's not just about spotting the hazards, it's what action needs to be taken. And it might be short-term action. It might then lead on to longer-term, more resources that might be needed to solve the problem. Workplace inspections should be recorded because it's evidence that we are actually monitoring our health and safety arrangements. It could help us comply with the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations Reg 5 that says we've got to have adequate health and safety arrangements for checking health and safety. Equally, doing workplace inspections, this is where maybe a checklist is useful because you can get employees involved and they don't have to be experts. Because if you do a nice, well-drafted checklist focusing on what they actually need to look at, they don't actually have to be an expert in health and safety. If you've got more knowledge and experience, you might just go out there having a look with your pen and paper, with your palm top, and then just making a note of things. It's focused, though, very much on out there in the workplace, the equipment, the people, the activities, not the paperwork. Sometimes people do look at paperwork, but a pure inspection is what you actually see out there in the workplace. It's part of a health and safety management system and part of our strategy for reducing accidents and injuries. So thank you very much for watching. That's just Take 5 Minutes on workplace inspections from Jackie Cambridge at Cambridge Safety, www.cambridgesafety.co.uk. Thanks very much for watching.